Welcome back. We unfreeze the room, read some journals, and can now open this door. Still seems a little cold down here. I guess this does provide some warmth. I'm still thinking that warmth is funneled from... Yeah, there's definitely even fire behind there. So turning on this does not just turn this on, it provides heat in other places too. Which I think includes this. Still kind of foggy on the floor here. Where does this go? Can we find a door that just opens normally the first time? I mean, it makes sense that we can't, I guess. Elevator. Can't go down. Must go up. There's a button in the elevator now. Not there. Anyway, where are we? Somewhere above the hut. That makes sense. We went like this and then got in the elevator. What's this? Keep hearing the whales, but no sign of them. Whoa! Okay, that's cool. Looks like Atus found a way to trigger... Trigger? That's not how you say that word at all. The aurora effect. It's kind of interesting because, you know, aurora here on Earth is caused by charged particles from the sun, not from electricity from down below. So I wonder how that's related. Also, what does this do? Nothing. Can't even move it. Do I need to turn it off first? Okay, yeah, now I can move it. Okay. Goes from 200 to 1000. Oh, cool, it combines the colors. So I just made purple and, dare I say, cyan. Whoa! That's neat looking. Can we do different colors? Let's try yellow and blue. Yes, we can. This tower here is still doing its thing and is not as obvious. Interesting. I like the other combination better, to be honest. Anyway, let's just leave this for now. It's neat, but we don't know what to do with it. Let's try this button out. Of course the elevator rotates. Actually, we already saw it rotate when we called it the first time. Downstairs. It takes us out here. Well, we can see that other tower a little bit better. Oh, you can just walk to this tower. Don't think there's much else here. Where does this go? Oh, hey! We found the whales. Much easier to find than Shroomy. I guess this is where Cirrus must have slipped and fallen. So let's try not to do the same. Cool. One of the drawings showed him like coming up head first. I don't know if they actually do that. If they do, I have not seen it. I've only ever seen him do that. Okay, but it doesn't look like there's anything else out here. Or maybe Cirrus fell here and then they built his railing. Although I don't know if that's the case. Considering Atus was never told about him falling, and I doubt Cirrus or Akinar built his railing by himself. Wait, is the control panel for the lights the thing Akinar did that he bolted to the railing? Seems unlikely. I'm not sure. Well, when we called the elevator originally, it was facing the wrong way downstairs. That seems to suggest we can, in fact, go down while it's facing this way. I don't think we can go any further up unless this is a Wonkavator. It is not. And there is indeed something behind the elevator. Are you really that worried about security that you couldn't have just made the doors on both sides? Who is gonna come here? Somebody's room. Oh, hey, and we finally found a Myst linking book. I'm guessing that Atus was probably not counting on the fact that the main part of the dwelling was frozen like that. Because if he had, he might not have wanted to send us here. More proof that the gas gets sent much further than just here. Than just the furnace in the first room. Okay, I am hoping that he had more blankets than this and just took them with him when he left. Maybe it's the blankets we saw up top, although I think those are probably Cirrus and Akinar's. Some books that we can't read. That's not fair. It's a drawing of, I assume Catherine, and then Cirrus and Akinar. That means this would have to be Akinar, and this Cirrus. And another drawing of Catherine, I'm guessing. And weird contraption with lenses. Are these the lenses we've been hearing about? Well, this definitely doesn't look like it's an actual viewer of any kind. Yeah. You can kind of move them, but it's doesn't really want to cooperate. Well, don't know if it's important, but let's take a picture of it anyway. You never know. And, of course, a journal. Rime Volume 2. The sequel to Rime Volume 1. Before spending any more time with my experiments, I've decided that I must finish construction. I've brought both Cirrus and Achenar this time. The shaft is almost finished, as is the observation post. Both boys prefer inside, where it is warm, protected from the cold. Neither of them shows any real desire to leave. I cannot remember the last time my son spent so much time with me in an age. Last night, Cirrus came to me with a hypothesis that may solve the crystal refraction issue entirely. His suggestion involved cutting the crystals into thin lenses before attempting to filter light through them, an idea that came to him while thinking about the properties of my eyeglasses. I can't help but smile at the idea of Cirrus watching me stare through the solution right on my nose. It is an unconventional approach, but his reasoning is sound. With Achenar's help, I believe we can repurpose some of the equipment already in the workroom to fashion these crystal lenses. Progress on the lenses is slow, as the crystals are prone to shatter if handled incorrectly. Despite the setbacks, my son are wholly engrossed in the task, and seeing them work together gives me great hope for the future. I long for the day I can bring them to Dunny to see its beauty for themselves. I know they will prove themselves indispensable to any restoration efforts I might undertake. Eventually, I will need to tell them about Riven, but there's much to do before it becomes a concern. The lenses have been completed. Tonight we will return to Myst Island and to Catherine. It has been too long without the warmth of either, and we all deserve a break. While there, I will need to collect some additional linking books. It brings me no joy, but the only way to test the device is to intentionally damage several of them, and ensure the device can still create a focused image. We only spent a day with Catherine before returning. I was still working up the courage to ask her for it, but before I could begin speaking, she had placed the book in my hands. It was the waterlogged linking book to Riven I had thrown into the sea the moment we were back in Myst, free of my father. I knew destroying the book was only a symbolic gesture. The descriptive book still remained in Kavir, but I was young and angry. I remember Catherine swimming out to retrieve it despite my objections. "You should keep it. You may want it later," she told me. At the time, the idea upset me. Why would I want a reminder of that place? But once again, she was right. Makes sense that she would want to save the journal of the linking book, because after all, that is still her home, even if she had just fled it. We said our goodbyes, and I returned to Rime, humbled by her foresight and love, as well as the note that she had secretly tucked under the book's cover. It has been several days with no progress. No matter how we alternate the lenses, only the faintest, blurriest image appears. Did I damage the book too severely? Is the number of lenses too few or too many? The number of variables feels insurmountable. The boys find their own methods of encouragement. They have not given up hope, and so I must follow their example. For now, I have decided to refocus my efforts on the lights in the night sky. Although I originally thought the effect to be an organic one, I now believe it to be electromagnetic in origin. I think the effect could be triggered somehow. It's something that we'll have to try. I doubt either of my sons was expecting the amount of work it would take. It has turned out to be a challenge, working above the cold waters where the wind cuts through clothing and skin like a sharp knife. Still, even amidst the dark cold, they are driven to complete the task. It is a side of them I have not seen before. The towers are finished. The power they required is conducted directly through the saline sea, alleviating the need for wires and enabling us to locate the towers a comfortable distance away. We are close now. Tomorrow, after adjusting the voltage, we will know just how close. This morning as we worked, I noticed Achenar rubbing his eyes and groaning under his breath. Until now I had simply assumed it was fatigue, but he then asked if either Cirrus or I ever got headaches from how strange the light is here compared to other ages. It took a few moments for the full weight of his observation to hit me. Akinar had inadvertently noticed that the frequency of the visual light in Rime is completely unique to this age. Wait, does that mean the laws of physics are different here? If light is different? That is really weird. Something so important yet so subtle that it had gone unseen thus far. Of course, the lenses could not focus the linking panels of the books. They were calibrated, assuming a standard frequency range. We shall repurpose the towers to allow the manipulation of the light in the sky and project it through the lenses, giving us much finer control. We will need to find the correct combined frequency, and construct an additional tower to transfer the light to the imaging device. But I believe that work will go quickly. We are so close now, I can feel it. And there's a number 1400 written here. Perhaps the correct combined frequency, so might as well take another picture of that. Another hard day, but we have erected the final tower. I'm too tired to write tonight. Tomorrow, we test Akinar's theory. Akinar and Cirrus have some kind of shared secret they're keeping from me. I admit a great curiosity about what it could be, but I believe it is better to let them have something that is theirs alone. Truth be told, I'm glad to see them relying on each other more. I'm beginning to wonder if this project they're doing has something to do with what they ended up doing to Atus rather than something we can see here. It has taken longer than I could have imagined, but this morning we were able to get a nearly perfect view of an H through its damaged book. It is an incredible sensation, like standing in two worlds at once. It is so much more than I could have done alone. The boys are so proud and want to return to Myst Island immediately to tell their mother about it, which is just as well. It's time they learned about Riven. Okay. So it seems like Akinar actually did contribute more than we thought to the project. Cirrus contributed to the lenses. Akinar contributed to the observation about the light. Even if it was by accident. Somebody needs to do the dishes. That somebody is not me. Sorry, Atus. I will not do your chores for you. Nothing else here that I can tell. I wonder. It would be just like Atus. If we couldn't go down before, maybe we can now. And we can. So I guess there's nothing on the other side, because there's no other way to turn the elevator around, and we can't go down all the way. But there is something here. Another room. And something tells me we have found the viewer that we read about. And yes, it looks quite different from the one in the original Real Myst. Interesting. Riven. Is this the correct combination for Riven then? Maybe not? I don't know. That's definitely the on-off switch, though. Let's see what else we can do here. Okay, we can change the color. Alright. We can change the height. Interesting that that's using Roman numerals, although I guess that's consistent with most of the stuff in Myst. Not so much Riven, but Atus always kind of used Roman numerals rather than done he once. Plus, there's no way to learn them in this game, so it would have been a problem. I guess this adjusts the aperture size. There's no such lever on the top lens. Same here. Now we can adjust the color and the height. And the same for the fourth lens. Yeah. Interesting. But we're doing something wrong. Actually, come to think of it, one of the things we're doing wrong is that combined frequency, which has to do with the aurora device on the observation post. We can actually see that these are the colors that I've set, yellow and blue. But those did not add up to 1400. Whether or not the combination that was there was something, I don't know. Let's hope it wasn't, because it didn't make any note of it. I guess these are the crystals in their raw form. Everdunes. That is where the crystals are apparently from. This pipe is leaking. And has damaged this note. We found it. Even after all these years, I recognized it in an instant. Infinity in a bottle. I guess this is one of the combinations for the crystal viewer, but we can't see all of it. It's yellow and blue, and I guess these are the aperture sizes. This looks similar to what we saw in Achenar. And then these are the heights. But those are also damaged, and Disney might sue, but that's besides the point. Let's take a picture of it anyway. I'll have to sort out what the rest of the combination is like. Hopefully there aren't too many combinations to try, or maybe we can find some more hints. Looks like this might be some kind of device for polishing the lenses. Doesn't look like we can interact with it. Bunch more lenses over here. These are just lenses of different colors, but the notes on them make me think that this is also a combination. But which one? We don't know. Take a picture of it anyway. Oxus has stored the lenses. They must have had a lot of spares. Well, that's neat. Put a light there and are shining it through some lenses. It just ends up white in the end. That's just the color of the last lens, but it does kind of make sense that it would, I guess. Although you'd think the larger blue lens would at least cast some blue light over here. Let's see, crystal observations. Max distance between the height of the top and bottom lenses cannot exceed 11 steps. It seems the light is unable to penetrate the ink of the book if the distance is too great. I think this is Cirrus's handwriting, and then the red text is Atus's handwriting. To allow for needed refraction, no two sequential lenses can have a matching iris size. Each lens color frequency must be unique. Excellent observation. So no two lenses of the same color. To compensate for its extreme refraction, any lens set to use the highest frequency color must also use the smallest iris. If a lens sits between two small iris lenses, it must be equal in distance to both. Okay. Interesting. Lens frequency must decrease in order as they get closer to the book. Can increase or decrease, but they must do so in order. Even with the alteration of the base crystal's shape into a flat lens, the laws of physics cannot be circumvented. Okay. This is the only part of the puzzle that kind of threw me off, because I was thinking in terms of, you know, frequencies of light as they apply in the real world. But that is not the intention here. Because even this setup here wouldn't follow the rules if that were the case, and white is a combination of all light and doesn't have its own frequency. So what they're talking about is unique to this place, not normal regular light here on Earth. That threw me off for a little bit. Come to think of it, though, we have more colors and sizes, and with this ruler down here, distances, so yes, this is another combination. But I don't think we can do anything unless we fix the light outside. So let's go back up. Go up all the way. And rotate again. Okay, so we must make, it was 1400, wasn't it? No, I want notebook, not options. Yes, 1400 was the total. And I do believe any combination that makes 1400 will work. Oh, you have to shut this thing off before you can move them. So you can just do 700, 700, obviously. I think I might have actually, by complete accident, done a combination that adds up to 1400s. I wasn't even looking at the numbers when I set them originally, and it wasn't until the light showed up. And then I looked at this and was like, hey, that's how it's supposed to look when you get it right. And I was like, oh, yeah, that does add up to 1400. That was not planned. Complete accident. Because, yes, this is the extra tower they built to funnel the light to the imager. And it will show at its brightest when you have a combination that works. Just has to add up to 700. Any add up to 1400, so yeah, you can do 700, 700, you can do 860 and 540, or anything else. The other thing, though, is that this is the order of the frequencies. With, I don't know if white is low and green is high, or the other way around, depending on whether the numbers represent frequencies or wavelengths. But yeah, this is the order you're supposed to use for the lenses, so let's take a picture of that as well. Like I said, that's the one thing that threw me off for a little while in figuring out the combination for the ones that you aren't just given. Alright, need to go back down. Take a look here, though. Now that we... interesting pattern forming in that light. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, so I changed it intentionally. I was going to do that anyway, show more than one color combination, but yeah, I had to make sure it wasn't already correct when I got down. Not that that would have helped, because yeah, the original combination it shows is not actually a combination at all. I think the lenses are actually further than 11 steps apart on that original setup, so it can't be. Alright, so let's see. And you can see quite clearly that this looks very different now. Okay, so this is the... Oh, the linking panel swirling. Was it doing that before? I don't think it was doing that before. But this is obviously not the combination for Riven, so still nothing we can see. There's a number of other books here for mechanical, selenitic, blank. It's my favorite H. Myst itself, channel wood that I guess Aknar has drawn on. Is that part of damaging it? And stone ship, in addition to Riven. And yeah, you can move them under the lenses with these buttons. Now we found a bunch of combinations that we all took pictures of. We found one in Sirius's journal, we found one in Akonar's journal. We found the lenses in Atus's study, or bedroom, or whatever that was. We found the lenses in the workshop here. And we found these crystals sitting on the desk, and then finally we found the note for Riven, which is unfortunately incomplete. We don't really know which one is which, though, other than that we can guess that this one's Riven because of the infinity in a bottle thing repeated from the journal. Other than that, there really isn't anything telling us anything. But we will start with... well, let's start with this one. So that would have us do yellow at 10. And I guess this is all the way open because you cannot actually adjust the aperture of the top lens. Then there's purple or pink with a middle aperture at 7. I guess I'll call this purple. And then small aperture at 4. And then cyan at the middle aperture at 1. And if we take a look at our picture of this, you can see that we go from yellow to pink to, well, I guess it has to be blue then, and not really purple, and cyan, and that is in the order of the frequencies shown here, as the note says they have to be. Alright, let's do that. Since you can't move the lenses past each other, it's often easiest to start with the one that has the most space to move. So this one was 1 and middle and cyan. Then this one was 4, I think. And those are a little hard to read. Can we get closer to that, please, now? Thank you. That one was small aperture and blue. looks more like purple in the journal, but that's okay. I can't see the top at all now. This one needs to go to 7. Oh, these are all just on top of each other. That's as close as you can get them. Middle is already correct. And purple pink-ish. And you have to come a long way down. Set to yellow. Where's that? Right there. And you can't adjust this one, so that has to be correct. Now the question is, which age is this? I don't actually remember which age this is. Not this one. So let's try... Well, I'm guessing it's not blank. No. Could be Myst. But it's not. Could be Channelwood. But it's not. Could be Stoneship. It is Stoneship. And this gives a much nicer view than the original crystal viewer in Real Myst. Like standing in 2 worlds at once, indeed. Can't get too close to it, though. Unfortunately, in VR, you can once again see that these are flat images projected on the background, not actually 3D environments that are loaded in here. Which is a little bit of a shame, but I also understand that that would have been hard to do. And who knows, maybe that's just how this thing works. But yeah, this is obviously Channelwood. Okay, so that's one combination down. Let's see the next one. The next easy one we have, obviously, is Akadar's journal, which is cyan 12, blue, small aperture 9, yellow, large aperture 6, and white, middle, and 2. And we can see that these colors actually go in the opposite direction from the one in Sirius's journal, if you look at the spectrum again. But yeah, the observations did say they could go either way. Alright. I just need to make sure that I know what I'm looking at. Because I have them all written down, of course, but I need to make sure that I am looking at the one that I just looked at here. Okay, so we start at 12 here. It's a little higher. And with blue. Then we go to 9. Purple's right. And so is the middle aperture. Then it is 6, actually. And blue is right. But we need the small aperture. Is that small or big? That's big. So, small aperture. And then the bottom one is at 2. I made this too small so I could view them all at once. But now I'm making things harder on myself because of it. White and middle. Alright. Well, we know it's not Stoneship. We know it's not Riven, so let's start here. Channelwood. Wait, I did something wrong here. I think I was looking at the wrong one. I just noticed that this should not be blue. This should be yellow. And also use the large aperture. Oh god, I just kept combining the wrong, looking at the wrong notes. I was looking at the, okay, I do apologize, but I'm still wrong. Alright, this needs to be blue. Okay, it's cyan, blue, yellow, white, and small, large, middle. Yes, now they should be right. Because for this one I actually knew it was channelwood. So, I knew that I had the colors wrong there. Interesting that this isn't the link-in spot. I wonder if that is because of the crystals or because the linking book is damaged. We get a view from a different perspective. Okay, what do we have next? We have... why am I going down? That makes no sense. We have this one, I suppose. Let's take a look. That would be white, red, blue, and green. Wait, there is no red, so this kind of has to be the purplish, doesn't it? The heights here are actually the notches on the view full screen, make that a little easier. They are actually the notches on here. It's actually easiest to count from the top, with the highest notch being 20, I believe. Or you can count from the bottom, obviously, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think. Or is this 8? I think it's supposed to be 8. What did I do wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would still say 9, but I think it's supposed to be 8. So maybe you are supposed to count from the top. Anyway, yeah. White is 19, large. Then this one is 18, 17, 16, and the middle 15, 14, 13, 12, and large, and 11, 10, 9, 8, and small. So you can get it, if I can get it right in one this time. You have to turn this off or it will not let you interact with it. I think. Or I was just not clicking at the right spot. We need to go quite a way up. Let's see, 20 is the top, so that is the easiest way to count. 19. And white. 16. What looked like red, but I think is actually the purple color. And the middle aperture. 12. And blue. And large is right. And then 8. And green. How does this changing colors work? Is it like changing... It would make the most sense if it just changed what lens was in there, but I don't see how that would be happening here. And small, I think. Let's see, what code would Atus keep in his study? We know it's not channeled. It's Myst. Makes sense, I guess. Kind of creepy, to be honest. I mean, like, Catherine doesn't usually go with Atus, so presumably she would be on Myst. Also, why is the library shut? So, like, Atus can spy on his wife from here. Kind of creepy. Alrighty. Next is this one. It is blue, purple, yellow, and white. And then for the distances, it's probably easier to see if I go full screen again. This one says 15, that one says 20. So I think that makes 17. Yes. And then 14 with the small aperture, 11 with the middle aperture, and 7 with the big aperture. Okay, so we want 7 and white and big. Then we want 11 medium and yellow, 14 pink is actually correct, but we want the small aperture, and 17, and then blue. Let's see, this could be anything. I mean, other than the ones we've already had. I sincerely doubt it's going to be blank, because I don't really know why this is here. Maybe just as a calibration tool, but if it is truly a blank book, then it's not going to show anything. Could be selenitic. We haven't seen that one yet. It isn't, though. That means, logically, it should be mechanical. And it is. Neat. Alright, we have one more obvious code remaining. And it is this one, which then logically has to be selenitic, which is yellow 4 and small, red 7 and big, blue 10 and small. Oh, this demonstrates that rule that if you are in between two small apertures, you have to be at equal distance to both. And it's 3 from there and 3 from there. And cyan and large. Alright, let's get that set up. I need to take them down a little bit from there. So that was 4 and small and yellow, and then 7 and purple and large, 10. Well, that's actually the closest they could be, so that makes sense. Small and blue. And then this one is at 14 and cyan. And it has to be selenitic, because that's the only one we have left besides Riven. And it is. Got too close there. Cool. Of course, what we're all here for, what Atus was here for, was a glimpse into Riven. Unfortunately, the combination for that was damaged by the water. At least we were smart enough to move it away so it won't get damaged anymore. So the only things we know for certain are the yellow and the blue, the 12 and the 4, and then this one has to be that middle aperture. So let's put in what we know. So we know 4 and 12. Let's get that out of the way. And we know... is it yellow and blue? Yes, yellow and blue. Yellow and blue. And then this one, I think, was the small or the middle aperture. Did I get that right? It's actually easier to just walk back here than it is to open the journal. I want to say there's like a greenish smudge here. I don't know if that's relevant or not. Let's assume it is first, so let's just do green. We don't, however, know the height of either of these, and this is where these rules are going to come in. So first of all, the max distance between the height and top and bottom lenses cannot exceed 11 steps. So this one we know is 4. So the highest this can be is 15. And since we know this one's 12, we know this one has to be 15 because that's the as close as it can get. So that's already one solved. We also know we can't adjust the aperture here, so, and we know the color. So that is correct. No two sequential lenses can have a matching iris size. We know this one is the middle one. We know this one has the large one, because it can't be anything else. So this one cannot match either this one or this one, and must therefore be small. The bottom we don't know yet, though. Let's take a look at our color spectrum. We have yellow, blue, possibly green. Yellow, blue, quite unlikely green then, because to have one in between, I guess it would have to be cyan. And then green. So this one actually is cyan. Alright. Well, it shows me what I know. And green. There we go. Now there's something else we need to look at, though. Each lens color frequency must be unique. Okay, we already used that. Compensate for extreme refraction. Any lens set to use the highest frequency color must also use the smallest iris. I guess... does that apply to whatever is the highest frequency color in the set, or just the highest overall? I think it has to be the highest overall. Because they can go both high to low and low to high. And the highest... the top lens can never be the smallest aperture. And green, we just saw, was the rightmost color on the spectrum, with the highest number on the controls, so maybe that's the highest frequency, meaning this would also need to be small. And if that is small, then if a lens sits between two small iris lenses, it must be equal in distance to both, meaning this one must sit in the middle, and 8. Alright. If I am right, this is Riven. And I got it right. Yep, it's not too hard to figure this out, especially because once you realize that you're supposed to use the order of the colors on the dial at the lights, then yeah, this is fixed because you can't use the same color twice. So, and there's only 2 colors left that are going in the same direction. This is fixed because it can't be higher than 15, nor can it be lower than 15 because you can't get these closer. And then, yeah, you just need to figure out that this one goes in the middle. And the apertures, this one's easy. And then, even if you don't realize that you have to set with this one to small, there's really only 2 you can try. And then, if you don't realize this, there's not that many combinations to try either, so it's not too difficult. I just got tripped up by the not understanding the clue about the order. It took me a little while to figure that out. Here we get a look at Riven, not just any Riven, it's the Riven remake, which makes sense, of course, since we were in the Myst remake. It's really a shame, I think, that this was released after the Riven remake. I guess it makes sense from a business point of view to focus on the large title that people will pay money for, rather than the small patch for an already released game. But this would have been such an awesome teaser of the changes in Riven if it had been released first. No such luck, however. What I don't understand, and I've never understood, and I don't know if there's an official explanation for this. Atus explicitly tells us in Riven, both the remake and the original, that he cannot use a visual signal because of the distorted quality of the linking panel in the descriptive book. But he had this? I mean, obviously when the original Riven was made, that this probably didn't exist yet, so you could just say it's a continuity error, but if so, I would have expected them to fix that with the remakes. Why could Atus not come here? Keep an eye on us. He could just tell us, like, go stand at the giant symbol in the middle of the lake and wave your arms when you're done. You know? I don't know. Maybe it's just that he couldn't actually stop writing long enough to take the linking book all the way here. Maybe he didn't trust how accessible this still was after, you know, all those years in the ice. Although, he could have asked us, because, you know, we were here. Too bad I don't talk. I mean, Atus really doesn't know that we actually ever went here, assuming we didn't tell him, or even if we did, that we ever made it this far. So it's possible that he doesn't know this is accessible and can't spare the time to find out, I suppose. Or maybe he just can't spare the time to even go here, even if he did know it was accessible. Although, of course, in the remake Riven intro, he links away to wait for the player to link, which kind of undercuts the severity of stopping to write for even an instant. But yeah, overall, I do really like what they did with Rime in this version. I like the new version of the Crystal Imager and its bigger images. Yes, it does make it inconsistent with Myst 4. That just means they now have to give us a remake of Myst 4. I doubt that will ever happen since they didn't make that themselves in the first place, but it would be cool. But yeah, because Myst 4 is not made by Cyan, I'm not too worried about the inconsistency between the crystal viewer seen there and here. Plus, you can always argue it's a newer version. He had changed how it works. I do miss the Easter eggs and like the age you could adjust by changing the crystals, so like raise the water level and stuff. Those don't seem to be here as far as I have been able to find. No one has found any Easter eggs. Maybe they will be added later in another updates. I am not sure. Would have been a nice way to tease any upcoming Myst games or even other games. Heck, we could have had a view into like Abduction or Firmament in here as an Easter egg, which would have been funny. No such luck though. But yeah, overall I like it. The atmosphere is great. It looks awesome in VR to see, especially the outside views with the snow and the aurora in the sky, the lightning. It's just an awesome looking age, with a nice glimpse into the other ages as well. Well, once again, that brings us to the end of a mini Myst Let's Play, so to say. I would say that's the end of them, but who knows what Cyan has planned in the future. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.